Hi there, this is Shannon Tidwell, Garden Girl at 2 Peas in a Bucket, back again with another 2013 and 2013 video. As you probably know, this is a weekly series with myself and 3 other garden girls. Every Monday we have a new video for you that has a layout with about 4 to 5 different prompts. So by the end of 2013, you'll have a list of 213 creative prompts to get you started on your next project. This week I really had no idea where this layout was going to take me. I started out with the photos and kind of let them lead the way on my layout. As you can see, they're of my daughter ice skating, and they're kind of muted photos with a few splashes of bright colors. So that's where I began. To start with, I grabbed just a few things I thought might work with this layout. My first is my background. It's a Studio Calico, nice canvas textury pattern. A few pattern papers I thought might fit in. Some stickers, and then this die cut that I really think I want to use by Glitz Design. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm not locking myself into anything. I'm just going to kind of let it go and see where we end up. So I really fell in love with this paper by My Mind's Eye. I thought these arrows were really eye-catching, but I didn't think the whole paper would work for my layout. It'd be a little bit too busy for my photos and kind of layout I had in mind, more of a light and airy look is what I was thinking. So I just started cutting with really no plan in mind. I just cut enough that I could work with them and figure out how I could arrange them on the page and what I would do with them. I also grabbed this paper by American Crafts and thought I would cut a few rows of those to try to mix in and see how that would work. That big blank spot in the middle of the Life is Beautiful die cut kind of bothered me. I knew I would need to fill that with something. But then I decided to really change it up. Instead of filling it with something, I decided to cut it. So that's going to be your first prompt of the day, is to cut a die cut. I'm sparing you about 20 minutes worth of video where I played around with the photos, with the die cut, and with all these arrows cut from that pattern paper and trying to figure out where I wanted everything on the page. I just kept moving things and moving things. I had the Life is Beautiful on the top and the bottom of the photos. I had everything turned sideways. I've had it every different way. And thank goodness I finally found an arrangement I liked. For this page setup here, I trimmed my photos down a bit so they would fit along with the die cut. You'll notice though that I don't have everything squared off, lined up exactly. I wanted it to kind of keep that casual look. Like I mentioned earlier, I wanted kind of a light and airy look. So I didn't want it to be too uniform. So even though I've trimmed it down so everything almost fits, I left it just a tiny bit larger so they overlap just a tad to kind of look fun and misplaced a little bit, I guess. So I've got my photos and the big die cut adhered down, and now what I'm going to do is just kind of play around with all these arrows that I've cut from the pattern paper. And you'll see that I'm just kind of arranging them around. One of the hardest things I think to do in scrapbooking is to put something on the page in kind of a haphazard way so that it looks natural and just kind of fell into place there. So my big tip right there is just to not overthink. Just start putting things down. Just kind of do it quick. Don't overthink where you're putting things. Just get them down there, move them around quick, and make your decisions. And then get them glued down. So I went ahead and added a bit of machine stitching. I used some gold thread to all my arrows across the page. I feel like that adds a nice bit of texture. It even kind of lightens the page a bit, I think. Adds a little whimsy flair to it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little spritz. I know the spritz can be a little overdone lately, but I just got this gold spray and I really wanted to use it. So I kind of thought that what I would do is add a bokeh effect to my whole layout, not just the photos, but to the layout. So that's going to be your second prompt, is to bokeh your layout. Since I'm not very experienced with spritzing or dropping paint onto my layout, what I decided to do was test it first. You can see on a little test piece of packaging that I had, and I noticed that that first drop was rather large. So as I did it on my layout, I would let that first big drop fall onto my test page and then let the rest fall onto my layout. So I kind of worked in a semicircle on the right side of my layout. You can see that my heaviest dots are over there on the right side, and I just did some smaller ones around. So the idea is for it to look like the light is kind of flaring in from the right side, where you've got little speckles of light on the right side of the layout. So with those big droplets of paint there on the page. I definitely had to let this sit and dry. I went ahead and let it sit overnight to dry, so I didn't risk messing up any of those spots and making them run across the page, because that would totally be something I would do if I tried to rush through it. So just let it dry overnight, and it was ready to go the next day. And I was really happy with how it dried. I really love the shimmer effect of that gold spritz paint. It really has a nice look. So now I'm ready to move on. I've kind of got this cool background design going. I've got my bokeh effect kind of started here on the page. And now I'm going to start thinking about some of the smaller embellishments that I'm going to add to the page. And here I'm going back to the first prompt and cutting a die cut. This is also by Glitz Design. This fun little rainbow heart here I thought would be kind of neat. I kind of pushed it off the page a little bit to give it a little fun, different look there. Added some pop dots underneath it. I'm not ready to add it to the page yet, because I'm still thought I might add a few other things, but I'm just going to save this for later to put on whenever I've got the underneath ready. I decided to add a little bit more texture and sparkle to my arrows I've got on the page, and this is just some glitter tape that I'm trimming down in the same kind of arrow designs, and then I'm going to stick it on the page. It's self-adhesive, so I just have to strip the adhesive out the back and put it on the page. Again, I'm trying not to overthink where I'm putting them on the page, just kind of letting them fall and putting them on there, not worrying about it too much, and it seems to do the trick. Alrighty, and now I've decided to add a bit more to my bokeh here. I really want to go with this and add some more texture to it, some more layers to it. So I found this in my stash. It's just some acrylic paint. It's gold glitter acrylic paint, and I just happened to see it dried on one of my trays in my paint bucket and thought this would really be cool on this layout. So I'm kind of doing the same thing. Again, you can see that I tested the droplets and the size they would be and the pressure I needed before I attempted dropping it onto my page. And then I just started squeezing it around, and really neat effect. Really like how it turned out. This is another one that I had to let sit and dry so I didn't goof it up. And here it is dry. You can see that it adds a little bump there, that acrylic paint, with a nice glitter shimmer in it. Really adds a neat effect, and that was super simple to do. Definitely going to have to remember that trick for another layout. So now I wanted to add just a little bit of something up to the top corner of the photos up there. I thought a photo corner would be cool, but I wanted something a little bit bigger. So I made my own photo corner, just a scrap piece of paper I had laying around. Did a little machine stitching with that gold thread just to kind of dress it up a tad, and stuck it up there on my photos. So that's going to be your third prompt, to make a big photo corner. And now I think I'm ready to go ahead and stick on that rainbow heart die cut that I cut earlier. So now it's really time just to add those small little details. Thinking about where I'm going to put the journaling, I found a little die cut paper that'll slide in nicely back behind the photo. I thought I could add my journaling too. And then I absolutely lucked out when I found this cute little transparency banner by Glitz Design that absolutely fits perfectly across my photos. I love how it looks like it's actually in the photos since it's on that transparency. So cute. So you can see here I go with another layer of arrows. In my book, if a little is good, then a lot is great. I think you guys probably know that by now. But I like to add different layers and different textures of the same design element on a page. I think that really adds a neat look to it. If I had just stuck with the pattern paper background with the arrows, I mean, it would have been a cute layout, but I think adding the glitter in there and now adding these vellum layered stickers in there in the same design really makes it pop and really has a fun look to it. It makes you want to reach out and touch the page. And here's a little silliness added to the layout. When I looked at these photos, I immediately thought Ice Ice Baby. I don't know. Goofy, I know. But I had to add it to the page. And I think that's one of the main things when you're scrapbooking. You have to add your personality and the funny things that make you laugh. Like when you look at a photo, add those to the page so that your personality really comes out in your scrapbooks. So even though it doesn't really make sense, it doesn't really necessarily go with my journaling. When I look at these photos, that's what I think. So I'm just going to stack some letter stickers together and put together my title of Ice Ice Baby. So you can see once again, I'm playing around with different textures here with my letter stickers using some chunky gold glitter letter stickers, some silver shimmery ones, and then I'm going to use some tiny little letter stickers. Love mixing up the letter stickers in different fonts and different sizes. Helps add a bit of visual interest to the page in a super easy way. And here I've decided to add yet another layer of shimmery goodness to my bokeh effect there on the right side of the layout. This time I'm going to be using some Studio Calico gems. They are the cutest little things. I love how they stick on the page, come in different sizes, different colors of the gems. They're just super pretty. Almost hate to use them, but they look great on the page, so you've got to do what you got to do. I'm going to go ahead and write my journaling on this little die cut card. I believe it's by Elle's Studio. So you can see I have plenty of room for my journaling, and it tucks in behind that photo that it can kind of disappear. And I tried several different things of putting little clips on it, little tag, but I didn't want anything else really sticking out on the page. So what I decided to do is just do a little machine stitching and leave that extra thread kind of hanging off the end there. So you can kind of tug on that, and that kind of shows you that you can pull it out there. So it's a little tab, but without being too distracting from the rest of the page. So now that brings me to my fourth prompt, to add tinsel to the edges. I was about done with this layout, thought I was about finished, but then this tinsel caught my eye, and I thought it would be a fun addition just to the top and bottom of the page. So I just took some liquid glue and ran it up and down the edge, and then sprinkled on this fun little tinsel. So you can get use out of your tinsel other than just at Christmas time or for Christmas layouts. It adds just a fun sparkle, and I thought it would just kind of help frame the page a little bit extra, add that extra little fun touch. So I'm always looking for. This is the last thing, I promise, but these letter stickers caught my eye because they have a cute little asterisks and the periods, which I'll never use that many periods on letter stickers. So I decided that I would just use them as kind of polka dots and little stars and add them to my bokeh on the right side of my layout. And now I'm finished, I promise. For a quick recap of your prompts for this week, you have first to cut a die cut or two to add a bokeh effect to your layout, 3 to make a big photo corner, and 4 to tinsel your edges. So I hope that you'll join in on the challenges this month and submit a layout so that you have a chance to win some goodies from 2 Peas in a Bucket. Once again, this is Shannon Tidwell, Garden Girl at 2 Peas in a Bucket. Thanks for hanging out with me for this 213 in 2013. Bye.